Is there a reason you cut the charge short there? Like, is
Probably
that
not.
intentional? Okay.
I think I just might not have wanted to go too far ahead, but
Yeah, because obviously it's fairly important that you want to go fairly a little bit far ahead just so you can take space. Because ideally, so the way I can't remember if I talked about this before, but like on Koth maps, it's like a tug of war, and like the halfway point, is here, and obviously you don't want to overcommit too far past that point. But any space you can get is good to grab when you can, like as early as you can. Because like
yeah.
if you get in this position early before their tank comes in, you have all the space and you don't need to give it up unless they all push into you aggressively before your team can follow up on you. Whereas you show up late. If their Ryan was here already, like he could be standing here, stop your soldier wouldn't run as far as he did. Their Ryan gets bubbled. He doesn't even have to use his shield. He just uses Zarya bubble, and then he just holds that space, kind of thing. Yeah, they're even slower, so you get all the space for free now. It's like obviously you don't want to be forcing the fight, but beyond where you are now, I'd recommend against even holding like as wide as you are, because like you're like holding on this side here is fine, like you do now. You start backing up and going wide towards the middle, which puts you at like big risk, especially if they burst through, because you got no cover to immediately go to. Like you see, you're kind of dancing between playing left or right side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's obviously super risky. You don't need to do that. If you guys are lucky that you're still like up two. You're to use Zarya as well. Like this fight could actually the fight basically becomes even because of what you do there.
Yeah.
Like it's
We
super unnecessary, super just a big risk. Like when you're up numbers, like you don't need to go for those sort of charge plays, because especially when the enemy Ryan's the one that's dead, because just you being alive is a huge has a huge effect on what the enemy team can do.
yeah.
With 1 second you're swinging, 1 second they've got 2,000 1600 health shield in their face.
We also make a call for everybody to come to point now, but it's there.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. But obviously that happened because you dropped. Not that wasn't like I can't imagine that. Or maybe it was the call.
That
But
was the call before I
oh,
charged.
okay, fair enough. Right. Um, I would say that's wrong because you've now given them like all the space in the world. Like what would happen is you guys drop to come to hit this area here, hold around here, and just have your Lucio touch point so that you guys can hold the space still. Lucio can get back up after he caps. Yeah, or even like a Doomfist can get capped and you can just uppercut and get back up. Like either of those, like basically have your mobile characters cap the point and then you hold the space that you want still. Because now you've surrendered it to the enemy team and they can get a good engage point on you because you're gonna have to recontest like by climbing up like here or here, and they can choose to engage on you wherever they want. Like space control, but is important, but especially so in Koth. This is the definitely mistake though, because like although you guys are vulnerable, and you're on the low ground, the consensus isn't on like it's not you guys that have to force the fight. They
Mm-hmm.
have to force it because you have point control. So like you can at least play slowly. Like playing on point wouldn't be great, but it's better than forcing the fight by pushing into them because it puts you at a disadvantage because their comp is better at brawling than yours is just because they've got Doom Reaper and you're running Soldier. It's like ideally you want to kite their DPS as much as possible and give your soldier space, just so you can survive. Which obviously, if you're pushing up into them, especially up these stairs, it's super easy and engage point for them. It's super risky as well. Like yeah, just swinging while walking up to them like that. Like you try to make the fight happen too hard, but yeah, there's no need to. this is something that's really important as main tank in general. It doesn't just apply to Reinhardt, but just as a main tank in general, is that the way fights happen, like, and where they happen is always going to fall down to you, and it's going to be up to you to decide how that happens. And obviously, you made that decision to fight to happen up here because you chose to push into them. So you need to be constantly aware and understand how comps interact with each other and against each other. So like you always need to be looking at the six heroes that enemies have, the six heroes that you have, and think about what places benefit them fighting and what places benefit you fighting. And if you can make sure they benefit you more than them. So like obviously with your compasses, there's um, tight choke points, close up fights, places where they have high ground and you don't, that they can and it's close so that they can shoot, they can engage on you. That's all going to benefit them. Whereas like long distances, rotations, um, having your backline and your frontline splits that your soldier has space, those are always going to benefit you over them.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. All right, one sec.
Okie dokie. We're gonna have to have a look at ordering some stuff. Uh,
Hello. Sorry about that, guys.
That's right.
Yeah, it's fine.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Try this on. Okay, good counter charge on him. That's fine. Trading your life for your team for that. Be careful. Be careful. Like attacking a choke like this though, because it's super difficult. I mean, this map is difficult in general, but I think you can do a lot more. Like this is less on you and guess more on your team, but like you can do a bit more flanking on this in this map. You don't end up with 6 people, especially like one being a soldier, going through this choke.
Okay.
One thing I've noticed you're doing a lot is with your fire strikes is that you're using them like around choke points and stuff. Be super careful doing that, just because that's generally when you're going to be getting like most nades and stuff hitting you, and you're really putting not just you at risk, but like your team.
Okay.
But obviously with your comp, when you have space, like you want to hold you want to hold chokes fairly aggressively and not give them space to engage, because like their win condition is killing your backline. You should be able to survive for long enough that your soldier can do stuff. Like again, you're doing this thing where you hold out in the open rather than abusing the corners and giving them an
Yeah.
easier time of dealing with you. Obviously this doesn't really matter now because you're beating the grav and you're nanoed, but like always look for the doom ult so you can shield off, so you can save some people in your ult. If there were some squishies with you and you weren't beating, like that'd be a different story. Like even without squishies, like your Zarya can take a chunk of damage. You didn't have shield. This as well, like going for charge plays and these sort of chokes is super risky. Not in the sense that like you can die from it, but like you've just been normally it's okay, but like you've been nanoed, so like it's a huge waste if you end up being countercharged by him, you know, because
Yeah.
he get this benefits him more than it benefits you, because this is now like 2 seconds that you can't do anything, where you would have more impact than him if you were just swinging. Tony could have saved him as well. Like even with like Alicia here, like you still want to be holding aggressively at the choke. You want to force him to use shit to come in. There's no sense like cutting all the way back. The block. Big shatter. That's nice.
Was there anything I could have done to avoid dying there while still shattering, or was that just how I traded
Not
a
really. No. You
team
guys
for
just
it?
yeah, that was a good trade. Like there's nothing else you could have done there. Like the only other option is shattering earlier, but if you shatter earlier, like there's a chance that you don't hit the as big a shatter as you did.
Oh yeah, there was a play that I want. This one. Was that worth doing?
You probably I like definitely yes. You might have been able to charge it up here and like make it so that only he goes off. But honestly, it's not that big a deal. Like the play is still like is good. You remove their bigger set. Like the only ult they had coming into this was the nano. So you take their only ult away in this fight, and then you guys just win. It's the right play. Like you definitely could have taken just him off instead of you, but like ultimately the outcome's the same, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we get fucked by the Doomfist on this point.
Okay. This is super risky. I'd much rather see like you jumping to this sort of area here and like zapping from above, so that you're not committing. Because like you commit in here with both your cooldowns, and now you're super vulnerable. If the enemy team like insta turn on you, you just die, and there's nothing your team can do to help you really because you're so split. Like, cause it's not like you even went for a hard dive because you jumped behind the Ana rather than on top of him. So like when you go for these sort of dives, it either needs to be a hard dive where you're coordinating with whoever else is able to die with you. So like your Traces, your Genjis, Doomfists, whatever, your Sombras. And it needs to be like an execution, like 3, 2, 1, like on that target, killing them. And obviously in this situation, that's not something you do again. You just try and jump behind them and zap them a little bit. And you soft committed to the dive, basically. And if you're going to be soft committing, there's the play you made was a hard commit, but you ended up soft committing with it. So like if that's your intention, you just want to jump up like into this sort of area. Always look for the areas that you're least vulnerable, but you can still contribute to damaging the enemy, I guess. Like you've only taken 95 damage, and that's not because like you did the right thing. It's because the enemy fucked up and just didn't punish you. I'm trying to see if there's anything you could have done the rest of the team as well. Okay, yeah, not really. The only other thing is like if you guys had gone for the hard dive instead of what ended up happening, you could have potentially killed more, and then the outcome of this would have been different.
Yeah.
Obviously, this comes down to you need to be like helping your teammates cross rather than just crossing and waiting for them. You have to assume that they're going to try and engage early. Like obviously, this is a weird engage to do it so early, but like they can get away with bullshit like this because they have the Zarya.
Yeah.
And also, like I'm assuming you're pathing left because you want to go to point from here.
Yeah.
But remember what I said earlier about thinking about like the enemy team comps engage win conditions, and like yours. Like yours is again the same as last time, where you need distance to beat the enemy team. You need rotations and stuff. And going straight to point forces the fight immediately on point and makes it so that there's zero distance between you and the enemy. Whereas if you rotated through here, what you would do is have you sit here and try to absorb the punch as like your team rotate into here and take space in here and stuff. And then you want to slowly poke out Doomfist, stop him from being able to hard engage, and create space between you and the Doomfist, because the Doomfist is their biggest win condition, and they're always going to bubble him and he's going to hard engage. And then obviously if you come point and sit on point here, he just super simple. He just presses E. That's it. That's his engage done. Whereas here you've like obviously the biggest issue is that there's no reset points here for you. Like the fight just happens. There's nowhere for you to go and soft reset the fight. Whereas here you've got all this space here and the mega for your team to use. And that's something that's important for you to be calling as well, like in terms of just letting your team know about pathing and stuff, like where you want to go.
Yeah.
Again, versus Doomfist, like it's not always possible, but as often as you can. Try and make it so that you're the one absorbing cooldowns rather than your team. Again, like when you get the this big an advantage in the Reinhardt versus Reinhardt thing, and you get the kill on him, don't continue just being a swing bot. Like you can use that like second after you get the kill on him to have a soft reset of the fight mentally and just think about what's happening and like where you can help next.
Yeah.
Because you just end up like constantly swinging on him, and like you can hear a Doomfist charging up something now. Like you need to be immediately like trying to help everywhere else. And again, just pathing is what's making this really hard for you guys at the moment, because you're taking the easy route for him to engage on. Obviously, you can't bank on that happening every time.
Yeah. I think this fight, the call before we got the kill on the Doom was to go right side, but then the kill on the Doom happened, and we're like, okay,
Yeah,
go.
That's fine. Like he's the biggest condition around main, and obviously, if you eliminate that before it goes, then it's more a case of like forcing the fight to happen faster, so like sooner rather than later. Okay, good block. I should say your Doom died. Your Reaper, sorry. Okay, just holding high ground. Remember what I said earlier? Like the same applies to this map as well. Like holding corners, holding closer, not holding open space, abusing corners, making it hard for them to get engages on. Like obviously this is less on you, more on the fact that you're Reaper committed up top. But still, like despite how the fight played out, like not really being in your control, like the stuff that happened, that is like the Doom getting killed and stuff, and then engaging on your backline. You played this well still, like in terms of like your reaction to the shatter. But positioning like your like you just don't have a reset point, and that's really important on Ryan.
Yeah.
You're just kind of out there. That's not good. Like you guys are already down 2 people, one of them being Anna. When you guys start this, so like there's just no way you turn this fight unless you're able to kite back enough that you get beat, and then maybe beat to turn it. But like even that is a huge investment, and huge risk. That's not really worth it. That's just a huge waste shot from you. I know it's 8%, but like there's always a chance that you can have your Lucio or someone hide, touch the point, and then like you have the chance to get back in. I'm assuming that's why you shot, because you were like,
Yeah, my thought process was if we lose this, it's last fight.
Okay, that's fair. But no, like you could definitely make a call that like there are 4 of you alive still, so you could definitely make a call that one person like just hides. Like you have a tracer as well, so like it should be really easy for you guys to touch this point. But you guys are in like a huge panic. You've not really talked about touching point, and it seems like, and so like 2 of you just gone to touch point at the same time. You've lost 2 of them instantly, and the fight's over. So like even if it's not your decision about who touches point or like where you're going to touch point, it's okay to start that conversation by asking, can someone touch point? You know?
Yeah.
It's the same with ult tracking. Like you don't always need to be the person ult tracking, but like starting the conversation of like what else do they have? Okay, so obviously, like, even though you've got Reaper in your comp, like, the comp's still really hard engaged. You want to be looking for hard engages here.
Yeah, that's what we were doing.
Okay.
Because comp that got recommended to us by Dark Zero, I think.
Okay.
Feeling.
Why is it you guys are on the back foot so hard?
I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like somebody just maybe gets his TP found or something. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, like you guys are super clumped up, and like you've already committed big resources as well back here. Like, so this puts you on like a time of when you can take your next engage, because versus their comp it's really hard for you to take the engage without your bubble.
Yeah.
Especially at this distance already. Like you're so far away. Like you kind of you want to make sure you're positioning more aggressively. Like on like if I was you in this position with your comp and I saw where the enemy team was, like I'd either be coming to here, like look for an engage from here, or I'd be looking for the engage, or like I'd already be playing like close corner here, where it's only the monkey on me, and the tracer who's gone behind. Like Anna can just pocket me for a little bit, and then look for the dive straight away. Like I want to find the shortest path possible.
Yeah.
It's like right, that dive there, like you guys have obviously done that with like zero information really at all, because you committed like your bubble without knowing where like what was going on around this corner, and you don't have a clear target either because you're obviously looking for the Anna. Someone just gone for Lucio, who he hacked, and like that's fine, but there's obviously miscommunication there. So the setup to this dive needs to either be your Sombra or Tracer scouting, calling a Sombra scouting, sorry, not Tracer. Your Sombra scouting calling a target, or you saying you want to dive this target that you can see. And neither of those things has happened. You guys have both got your own ideas. So I dive the most important thing to dive is the setup to it. So having clear communication for the setup is really important. Because that was really messy. Could have gone a lot worse. I'm noticing you're wasting your bubble a lot at the moment as well. Like you place it and then the fight doesn't end up happening there. Like unless you're like hard committing to something, make sure you're not using your bubble. Because the two places, like this one for example, where you use it and then you drop back towards here, like it's obviously not a situation where you need to be bubbling, especially when it's just a tracer that's here, because that tracer is not going to hold his ground here. He's gonna have to kite back to a soft reset with his team. Like you could just use this corner here, the soft reset with your team. It's a big cooldown waste. Same again, like it doesn't really look like you're doing much scouting like yourself or like with your Sombra, because you're really far away from your team. Then you have to use your jump to get back to your team. And now like if you were closer or like you were more set up, like look, this dive is so free for you. There's literally nobody with him. It's just a hacked monkey. He would die 100%. And the fight's pretty much over. But obviously, like this sort of chase is really dangerous if you're not like keeping track of resources the enemy team has or the enemy tracer has. Because like there's 100% a fight you can win, but like you've invested so much already. Like the bubble. the bubble usage. Like you used it in an area of the fight, it's not going to end up happening. Like your diva matrixes you as well. That's a really good matrix. But then like you hard commit out of your bubble, and you don't go back towards it. For some reason, you keep walking towards him. If you go back to the bubble here, soft reset, the rest of the team can get back to you. Like you're not thinking about like his backup coming as well, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry. There's like because of COVID, there's a lot of shit happening at the moment with like our teams and contenders teams. So
Yeah, that makes
they're
sense.
trying to organize a meeting at the moment.
That's fair enough.
I'll just let them know I'll be free after this. Okay. Okay. So for like as soon as you get back here, like the way your bubble works in this comp, like in neutral fight, not neutral fights, but just in fights in general, is that it needs to be a zoning tool constantly for the Ana. And like you're using it like really selfishly at the moment. Like okay, fair enough, there's Lucia sleeping there, but that's like you've got a diva that can just matrix him as and when needed. It's not really something that you need to worry about, especially when the fight is happening so aggressively. Like you guys are putting both your resources into this Lucio that's asleep. You've got your diva ready to matrix him, and you've got you bubbling him, and then you've just got your Nanoed Reaper here alone trying to deal with the backline after killing 2 people. Like you can definitely be more aggressive than where you are now. Yeah. Oh, okay, it just ended.
I think that was about to be one, and then
Okay, yeah, so I didn't win it. Okay. Yeah, so at the moment you're being like really defense, like your bubbles are kind of selfish, and you're not thinking about the bigger picture when you're using them. Again, it ties into the whole like thinking about where fights are happening, how they're happening, how you want them to happen.
yeah,
Because like your bubbles at the moment have been like defensive ones like this, or selfish ones like this, or like you'll jump on one target and bubble them instantly without thinking about how they'll react to you jumping them. As opposed to positioning more aggressively so you can take the fight. So like even if you're not diving super hard, like you can position more aggressively at choke so that you can just peek, bubble, and then jump more defensively if you need to peel. Because your comp is also really good at peeling because you've got Reaper. But instead, like you're doing neither of those things, and instead you're like sitting defensively, bubbling defensively, and then jumping even further backwards to peel for the people that are further back than you. And obviously, people are playing really far back, like further than they would be because of how defensive you're playing. Like you're not playing that aggressively at choke points, so you're not setting things up quite aggressively. Was there another map that you want to go over? You have plenty of time, so.
Chemist?
I don't think so. Not that I can think of. I think most of what I had in mind to ask about has already been answered as well.
Oh, really? Okay. We have like another like 25 minutes because I was AFK quite a bit, so.
There's nothing that I'm thinking I need.
Okay.
Telling.
What we can probably do then, if you guys are happy with it, I'll we can book another session for some time in the next week, and we'll do another map because I don't really want to end it as short as it has been, so I'm happy to do another session.
That's fair enough. Well, I was just about to book some more hours with you anyway.
Oh,
So.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so well, you can just message me about that, then we'll sort that out. And we'll look into when we can both do them.